Would you pay less for a billboard that's going to sit in the middle of the forest that no one is going to see?
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today, as the Edmonton Business Coach, we're talking about why most websites don't generate leads. Again, as the Edmonton Business Coach, we're talking about why most websites don't actually generate any leads. And I have Michael here with me again. So Michael, you have some experience in designing some websites.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and that coveted first page Google listing, it's a hard thing to attain, right?
Definitely.
After you're working with us, how many business owners do you think out there are drastically underestimating the amount of content you need to get to page one?
Definitely a lot.
Yeah. It's a big misconception out there. That's one of them for sure, and there's many of them. But the quote that we have here today, it's a Gary Vaynerchuk quote, and he knows a thing or two about getting his message in front of people. And he says, "There's no such thing as perfect. Chasing perfect is the shortest road to not achieving it." And I say, 50% of all Canadian businesses will go out of business in the first 5 years, and 42% of these failed business owners will list the inability to attract customers as one of the primary reasons for their failure, making the inability to attract customers the most common reason for business failure. And I would throw another stat in there that's just a Josh Spurrell. There's no source on it, but 90% of them on their resume would say they're perfectionists too. The ones that are failing, as if perfectionism is a successful trait for a business owner. It's not. So the story that we have here are business owners that they think any average website will generate some leads, when in reality, an average or a below average website generally generates no leads. It's like as if you didn't do it for most businesses. You should either do it right or save your money and not do it at all, in my experience. So, Michael, what are the questions that these business owners who think that an average website or a below average website will do okay?
Can missing a key website component be like missing a key component of a car?
Yeah. So if you're missing a key component of a website, this is the analogy I'll use with people. If you're missing, okay, I sell you a car, but that car doesn't have a transmission. Is that car going to get you to point A to point B? We're not talking about it's missing air conditioning or one of the wiper blades is broken. We're talking about if that car is missing the engine or the car is missing the transmission or no wheels on the car. That's what it's like of missing a key component on the website. It is completely useless most of the time.
Why is a website that does not rank on Google like a billboards in the forest?
So I tell people, it's like, okay, I'll build a website. I want to build a cheaper website because it's cheaper. And I said, well, would you pay less for a billboard that's going to sit in the middle of the forest that no one is going to see? You'll feel good. There's a billboard. It'll be kind of cool to see it. You'll get a picture of it, hopefully, if you can find it. But no one else is going to see it. It's not going to generate you any business. So a business that does not rank on Google won't generate you any business.
Why are Google reviews necessary?
So Google reviews are necessary for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you don't have enough reviews, you can't rank high on Google, or it's very difficult to rank high on Google. So you're just kind of tying one hand behind your back. And number two, even if someone clicks on your website or sees your presence on Google, but you have no reviews, you've just dramatically reduced the number of people who are actually going to do business with you, because 88% of the purchasers, the prospective purchasers, will read the reviews before deciding whether or not to do business with you.
What are the only 3 pages of a website that the majority of the traffic will see?
So a lot of people, they build all these pages on their website and they think, well, don't worry, they'll find this one here. I just reviewed one yesterday and the client had, sub-page after sub-page after sub-page on their services, as if the customer is going to click and click and click and click. The problem is people are extremely lazy, and their kind of commitment to click around a website and keep searching for all the information that you diligently put on there is very low. So generally, they're going to see the homepage. It's far and away the most common page that they see it. And they're going to see, they like the team page, believe it or not. A lot of people don't put the team page, and they don't put the biographies and the pictures of the people who work in the business. And that's one of the only ones that they want to see. And then they'll probably, if they're going to click anywhere else, the services page. So a lot of them are only ever going to see the home page. And if they're likely to see anything else, it's probably the team and or the services page. And that's generally it. And everyone thinks their website is different, but there's apps that you can install, like Lucky Orange, for example. It's like a heat sensing map of where people go on the website, what they click on the website. The problem is it's the same story over and over and over again. Whether you're a dentist or a plumber, they click on the home page, they might click on the team page, they might click on the service page, and they don't have an ounce of motivation to go anywhere else. So you better convince them on one of those 3 pages.
What happens if your value proposition is not completely defined on these pages?
They're not going to do business with you because they're only going to go to these 3 pages. So if you're expecting that they're going to go on all the web pages on your website to determine what your value proposition is and determine if they should do business with you, that's a false assumption. So you need to be clearly hooking them in and delivering them as a client on, generally, you should be making that decision right on the homepage. Everything that they need to know to decide if they can do business with you or not. Not the detail, not 100% detail, but it's enough to convince most people. You should be trying to do that on the homepage.
What are the risks of putting all your services on a different subpage?
Yeah, a couple of risks. So number one, people are too lazy to click on them. So they'll just click somewhere else where they can scroll. They prefer to scroll than they would to click. It's extremely exhausting to click and click and click. I know people are just lazy, and we underestimate that laziness. So they just won't click. So there'll be a service that they're extremely interested in, but they didn't want to click through 12 items on your services page to find it and read about it. Number 2 is, you want 1,000 words of content on every page. So if you're trying to write 1,000 words of content on every single one of your sub-services, that's going to be a little bit difficult. So you're making a challenging assignment for yourself, or just combine them all. Put all your services on the service page. That's all you need.
Do most businesses underestimate the value of the team page?
Yeah, people do not buy from faceless businesses. And if you start studying websites, it proves it because they click on that team page. Even on small businesses, they're more concerned about who's doing the business sometimes than they are even what they're doing. Before a lot of the patterns are people will click on the team page, they'll never even click on the services page. They're going to make their decision based on the home page and the team page. That's a common pattern, and a lot of people avoid putting the team and the pictures of the team and the biographies of the team, thinking that people are going to buy from this nameless, faceless business, and that's not how it happens. I did another video about that where, there's a reason why even big companies, big established brands, they get spokespeople because they want to assign a face and a name to the product and not just a brand.
Will most website visitors only ever see the homepage?
Yeah, far and away, most of the time they are going to make their decision right from the homepage. So they're either deciding, yes, I'm doing business with you, or I'm clicking the back button right from the homepage. So we talked about home and team and services being the 3 most common, but you have to remember the most common visitation pattern to your website is homepage, decide yes or no. If yes, they're gonna click the button or pick up the phone. If no, they're hitting the back button. That's it. So you got to convince them right then and there on the homepage.
Should you touch on every key component of your business on the homepage?
Yeah. So if you're trying to convince them, you got to think, I got to put a little bit about my offer. I got to put a little bit about my services. I got to put a little bit about the team. A little bit about who we are as a business. I got to make sure I have enough calls to action on that homepage. Everything you need to hook them, it's going to be right there on that homepage, because you can't depend on them clicking on other pages to make their decision. It's got to be enough. You can't put 100% detail on the homepage. It's got to be enough for the average person to say, yes, I'm interested, or no, this isn't the one for me.
Why should you also use video instead of just written words?
Again, people are extremely lazy. You know how many people actually read books these days? The stats on that are extremely low. So you need words to rank for Google, because Google doesn't know if it's pretty or not. Google doesn't see videos, but people watch videos. If given the choice between watching a video or reading text, most people will choose the video. And Google will monitor, how long people stay on a page too. So if you want them to linger on a page, embed a video on the page. So using just written word might get you the content you need, but it's not going to get enough time on page, and probably you're not going to get enough interaction or interest from your customers, because unfortunately people don't like to read anymore.
Why is what is above the fold on the homepage so important?
So if we talked about the homepage being so important, we had homepage, team, services, those are the three common ones, and homepage is ultra important. But here's the kicker. People are so lazy when they visit a website that not only do they not want to click to another page, they don't even want to scroll sometimes. So a lot of patterns are going to be, they're going to make their decision based on what you have on the homepage above the fold. And when I say above the fold, it's before you even scroll anywhere. So what can you put on that homepage above the fold that's going to actually convince them? Most people, so if you're thinking about the time you spend on your website, and people are spending time on the 19th page on their website trying to make it perfect. I spend my time above the fold on my homepage, making sure things are precisely right. And I don't even care if there's a spelling mistake on page 20, because no one looks at it anyways. But I'll spend hours and hours on how things, look on different devices, or mobile, different phones, desktop computers above the fold on the homepage. Making sure the no-brainer offer that you have on that homepage is tight. Making sure that people can see some social proof. They can try to understand a little bit about your value proposition. You got to be really squish it down, and you got to pare everything away. And what's the simplest you can explain it and make an impact above the fold on the homepage, it matters the most. So that's what we have here today. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at your business. And please leave us some comments so we can respond back and know what you guys would like to see covered in future videos. Thanks very much.